welcome to NatFun, a live recorded tabletop role-playing adventure game where the dice and normally a few friends tell a story. But today, I'm featuring a solo game. My name is Matt, and in this episode, I will be playing Artefact, a game of legendary items and transcending heroes. This game system was written by Jack Harrison of Mousehole Press. This system's a little different. In our standard classic dungeon crawl, you follow the lives of adventurers, the great adventures they have, the situations they fall into, but what were those treasures, those items, those magical things they found? What if they told a story? What were those items doing before the adventurers showed up, sitting in the dark, waiting? How were they to come there? How did they become what they are? What stories do they have to tell? The Artefact game system turns this idea on its head. What is their history? Whose hands have they passed through? How would that change what they are? How have they grown? What abilities and traits have they taken on throughout this potential story of eons? If you enjoy this and would like to check out Artefact for yourself, it can be found at mouseholepress.itch.io/artifact. We have a link in the show notes at our website, natfunpodcast.com. Now, let's take a look at the game and see what happens. Before we get going, I would like to take just a moment to explain the game system to you. This system is based on time and, well, an artifact. What we're going to do is first pick our item, then we're going to pick our keepers, what they look like, how they are, and then how they affect us. Time will pass, and then we will begin to develop and change. This is done over 3 acts, generally with 2 keepers per act, and then an epilogue. I'll be doing all this by dice rolls and roll tables to keep it as random as I can. During those downtimes between keepers and acts, I'm going to then build the story and then put it together cohesively. If you'd like to know more about how this system is made, how I built this story that you're about to hear, please check out our Let's episode on Patreon. Thank you. And now let's get to our story. The story of the artifact. The cards. The plan had been simple. Well, not simple, but straightforward. 3 great powers come together, provide an element to aid the family of the prophecy in vanquishing the great dark god Urbis. The wizard, in his blue robes, tall, stereotypical hat, covered in stars and sun and moon, representative of the sky, even with a strong relationship with that of the sun god. His powers came from there. He spoke with him, he was devoted to him, and he was here to aid him. The paladin of the god of the earth, nature, the soil, animals, the wind. The cleric of the sea, scaled armor, waves and trident, the seal of the sea, seal of the god, the third in the triad. All together. Their names? Well, I don't recall their names. Our names. What was it? Something had gone wrong. As they had planned, we had planned? Something. There was a plan. Magical essence, power, focus, prediction of the future, spells to aid the family, aid the boy who would one day vanquish the god, the dark god, Erebus, the fallen. We were here to do that. We were here. But something went wrong. Something in the back of the wizard's mind. Something clawing. Something in the spell had been changed. Some dark voice that he didn't recall had been there. Erebus, he had changed it. They were trapped. They were trapped in the deck. We were trapped. They, we, I, the deck, conscious, unaware. A magical item made to serve the family, made to serve the boy, the young, prophesied child, well, not child any longer, young man, who was going to and the darkness, as the prophecy had described. Caspian Argent, the magical boy, the magical man now, had been decided it was his time. The family had been prophesied for so long to end tyranny of this dark god. The god spoke to each individual person, brought them together, and the deck was made. The wizard's assistant, he was there the whole time. His instructions clear. If anything went wrong, bring the deck to Caspian. Make sure he had it. Make sure he could vanquish us. Make sure he could save the realm. When we disappeared, when the consciousness went in and became just the cards, this deck of tarot cards, meant to be 22 in tradition. As we check ourselves, our faces plastered to the first card, the 0 card, the Fool. We know there are only 21 of us. There should be 22. It's necessary to be 22 to work. We're 21. We still have the power. We could still guide what had gone wrong. But our consciousness slipped. We became us, me, something, a card, a deck of cards, conscious, but I can't recall. The assistant, the young mage apprentice, did as he was told. He took the scroll and the cards, not knowing what had happened to us, to me, to them. We were taken to Caspian Argent. This magic user, this wispy boy who knew he was part of the prophecy, who cast a spell every day to make himself semi-corporeal, wispy even. He was there, he was kind-hearted, he was wise. He longed to find a partner to share this burden with. He wanted to save the realm, follow his family's destiny. The Argent line had been predicted. They should know what to do. He had these tools, and the letter explained. We had provided this deck of cards. This deck of cards was magic. It could predict, it could protect, it could discern good from bad. But something had gone wrong, and its creators had gone. Had they been destroyed? No. We are here. We are in the faces of the cards. The green deck, gold inlay, highlights of blue, 3 faces. As the scribing moves and changes, you can see 3 faces. You can see the wind, you can see the trees, you can see the air and the gold, and you can see little bits of fire, and you can see an eye looking back. You can see smiles, like laughing smiles. As Caspian grasped us for the first time, he could feel the power. We glowed. We could still do this. Our sacrifice would not be in vain. We must keep the boy on task, help guide him, give him the information that our prophecy, our divine sense can guide. He was impetuous, yes, but he was meaning well. He had the best interest of the realm in line, and he knew what his job was. If he could just find a way. He knew he would read the cards. The cards would come up with things. We would tell him. We would give him signs, and he grew to lead. But his desire to not be alone, to lead this kingdom with a love, a family, keep the line going, to know the prophecy must carry on. He sought a love, a wife. He journeyed through the countryside, doing good, researching. His personal desires still could not be forgotten. He wanted to find that one person, the person to share this with, share the power, share the responsibility, build that family. He would meet with families, young ladies, people of education, people of all types, but nothing was right, nothing felt right. He would escape the pressures of his day. He would go out into the woods and speak with the animals, the critters, that he has done this since a boy, bears, birds, all sorts of things. Would one day, while he sat, meditating, trying to understand his goals, trying to find the best way forward, the animals scattered, ran away, frightened by something, and he saw a noble maiden coming out to see this creek, to see the animals. They began to talk. She was wonderful. The time passed so quickly. She knew so much about what he loved. They could share and chat. She wore a beautiful necklace around her neck. He could sense the magic on it. She explained that her family had given it to her to protect her. They all had been lost. She often came out here just to think, but this necklace was her protection. That's why it gave off a magical aura. He thought that was wonderful. He continued his magical protection, his wispiness, but he would show her his face on occasion. They talked and laughed and grew together, and he would consult the cards. What would the cards say? Was this the right thing? We would show him many things. We would predict, we would look forward, we would sense things. We would see the magician. Maybe that was him. We would see the moon, the tower, the wheel of fortune. What could these all mean? He saw them as skill. He saw them as sudden change. He saw them as destiny. He thought this was the sign, and his impetuous nature took him. He wanted this love. She wanted him. Within weeks, they were wed. Grand wedding. All were there. He spoke. He explained that she was his ruler with him. She would be his queen, this Sandra of the Star. She had all he had. She gained his power, his role. They would share the burden together, what he always longed for. Their wedding night came, glorious, excited, tentative. He finally dropped the spell for the first time, feeling safe, truly safe in his bedchamber, with her. That's when the knife came, the blade through his chest, and the necklace around her neck changed from a beautiful gold ruby necklace to a dark black necklace with a green gem. Her hair changed, her golden hair was gone, her beauty still there, but dark, sinister eyes, long dark hair. This was Sindra, the high cleric who was supposed to be dead. We had sensed it. We couldn't tell what it was. The cards that he thought were the magician, the moon, the tower. We tried to explain. Now we understood. This was misfortune. This was illusion. This was change, not for the better. But as she stabbed him, we fell from his hand, scattering across the floor. He'd intended to look into the future with her, and she knew it. That's why she struck. It was time. His body was swept away. People were told he died, suddenly, unknowingly. She took over, but as soon as power was ultimate, they knew it had been a trick. The gods were pushed out. The civilians, the public, was pushed away, enslaved, tortured. The cards that he so valued, the cards that were destined to tell him how to win, how to fight this evil god, they were displayed above her throne, displayed out over the great symbol, over this dark symbol of Urbis the Fallen. The jagged line at the bottom of fire, the mountains at the top, this black background, red line work, these two symbols coming together to make a jagged mouth, hungry, destructive. The cards, us, we were broken. Our nature, our joyful nature, our frantic nature, our excitement to try to help was gone. We were haunted, broken as we watched her rule, hurt those we once tried to help. Our young boy was gone, so impetuous, gone. How long would this be? Had we completely failed? Why? How do we not see this? A year passes, we are displayed, dark and haunted, our pictures still moving, but sadness, no more bright green, dark, haunted, so sad. And then one day, change. People came, soldiers came, clerics came, paladins came, not wearing this of the sun and that of the moon, or this of the sea, or that of the tree. No, together, one symbol, a sun over a great oak, carried by the ocean and the water and the river, a symbol in the circle, all one, symbol of the Tri, symbol of justice. Three gods came together to fight this. They're clerics, there's people. The symbol was torn down above the throne. Sindra was slain. The change became. But us, the cards displayed so triumphantly, were thrown into fire. We were thrown into fire with this dark symbol. Our magical essence was still there. We were not lost. We were not burned. We were saved. Away from this symbol. The fire did not harm us. We gathered ourselves. We pulled ourselves together to be found. We glowed. We could feel something. We could feel someone. We did not know. This long year, this eternity of failure, maybe there was still a chance. We cast ourselves to find and draw someone of the family line, someone of the prophecy. Maybe they could find us. Maybe we could still stop this, save this, fix this. There was a man up on the rail, looking over this fire, this pyre, smoking his pipe. The pipe he always smoked while he thought, while he tried to figure out the next step, this calculating man who had helped organize this uprising. Little did this man know, he had lineage to Argent, this man they just called Lysander. Smart man, young man, but very driven. He saw the glow. Nobody else saw it. He felt it. The family line was there. He stepped down the steps. He picked us up in the ashes. We could speak to him. He could feel that there was something more here. He did not know exactly what we were, but we knew this was right. Maybe there was chance of this. As his hands grasped us as a whole deck, 21 cards, still not the 22. The color changed. He was shocked. A magical item had called to him. Our faces changed. The scrolling changed. The black changed to green again. The lines, the smiles, the eyes, we could see him. We could feel his need to help. We would guide this man who was actually destined to help. A great leader this man would be. Not the leader of the country, not the leader of the realm, but the guide to get there. We could help. He could help. How do we do this? Speak to him. We speak to him. As Lysander, this man, carried us back into the hall. This hall where there were people yelling and discussing. The castle had been cleared, but a ruler had not been found. Who was the right one? Who should it be? Who should guide the country, the realm? Two families had right. Two families, both well-meaning, but fighting, bickering. Lysander looked at the deck, absently, just shuffling, and he looked down. He could see cards pop up as he laid them on the table, just absently while he thought, while he listened to these men, these nobles, these fathers, children argue. The 3 and the 4, the emperor and the empress. Interesting. 6, the lovers. 10 and 8, fortune and strength. This gave him inspiration. We guided him. We saw the two people, the two families. Together they were stronger. Lysander spoke. He says, "People, you know me. You know that I do not guide without thought. You know that I do not stand here to rule. I stand here to make the realm better." With this, he proposed a plan. These two families, these two opposite families, had young and older children. The children would work together. They would help rebuild as a team. They would be led by their parents as a council. And several of these children who were of age would get to know each other, would spend time together, make decisions, guided by their families. No infighting. This would be a team effort. Lysander spoke to the families, explained that if they worked together, the true path would be found, to trust his guidance, trust in the future. And only a year in, with guidance of the council, the family, and Lysander, 2 of the eldest children found themselves spending more time than just needed to rebuild. They found themselves captivated by each other. Wise, kind, brave, noble. They were married. They would lead. The realm would survive. Lysander remained on, living just a short distance from this castle. He would be there often to guide, to advise. The cards, us, we were there. We were there at the wedding. As he shoveled us, the Empress and the Emperor in love, those cards coming up again. The Fool's card, that top card, smiling, joyous. He could see the ripple of time and color come back to us. He would often sit at his desk in his home. We lived in a glass case on his desk. He would pull us out, begin to speak, begin to think absently, shuffling, laying cards. We would do our best to guide him, guide his children, guide his family, guide the realm. He was often off to other places. 10 years we guided the man. Many realms became allies, friends, wealth, power. Everything came, but in the best ways. The people survived. The people flourished. Art, music, things came back that had been gone for so long. We were on our path. We had done the right thing. This great man taught us one thing: to be stoic, patient, to not rush in. We'd been so frantic, so worried about our capture, so worried about our failure, we had not warned the boy. But this man listened. He was patient. He taught others. He sat to aid, to guide, to make everything better. Maybe the prophecy meant this man. Maybe it was not to rule, but to lead. There is a difference. Maybe these 3 wise men, who are now I, should have thought about that. Maybe we're doing the right thing. We still remember the day. We were shuffled and asked, "What is the path for my daughter? What is the best reason?" He sat. He smoked his pipe. He contemplated the sun, the tree, the sky, the wind, the moon, faith, the wheel of fortune. What could these all mean? What could we say? There's something more here. But although it pained him, he agreed. His daughter studied. She now helped guide that faith, the Tri who'd come back, that helped guide the nobles in this castle, in this land. Not just lordship, but divine guidance. How great is this? She was a strong, smart woman. She went away to study. We missed her so. Until, on the day she returned, armored. When she returned, she was more than just a child. She was educated. She was strong. She had magic of her own. She wielded the breastplate of the Tri, the faith, the guidance. Her goal now was to start and finish what everybody else had done so long ago, what had been forgotten, why they were here now. She was destined to find Erebus. She was destined. She saw the vision. She would strike him down. Her father's guidance, our guidance. This was necessary. And on that day, we were past. The man, this great hero, this folk hero, this arbiter of peace, passed us along so that we could do more. He could feel it. We could feel it. We glowed. We saw the symbol. As she took us, our faces disappeared. The symbol of the tree with the sun and the water moved across that top of that card. The fool's deck, they'd called us once upon a time. Sindra told us we were the comedian's deck because she laughed at us, that we'd all been so silly. But we're here now. Maybe we are not fools. Maybe we're not comedians because we're a folly. Maybe we're laughing in the face of the destiny others plan. Maybe we're doing the right thing. Maybe it was not for naught. It's been glorious in the 10 years since. What else can we do with this great person, this divine selected? What shall she do? She traveled. She studied. Erebus was going to go. There were stories, books, etchings and scratchings and caves and cults, all still to this dark entity. As this great new keeper of our power, Seraphina of Lannister. Yes, she saw her father made a lord of a house so noble. She saw the honor in this, that working hard, being true was the most important. The realm was the most important, as he taught her while she bounced on his knee. Now while she marched the streets, the caves, the backwoods, doing the right thing, sailing the seas. She was looking. She would find the way to deal the blow that is destined. We would guide her. As we passed through things, we could absorb them, we could understand them, we could see the history. She would shuffle us at night. Always, we would come up with new ideas, new things, new ways to talk about it. The sun. Constantly the sun would come up. Our card number 19. What would that mean? Why? Why does she wonders? The sun is definitely part of the symbol, but not all. As she traveled and wandered, stories became to her of a beast A beast that was protecting something. A dark beast in a dark place of cinder and smoke and brimstone and fire. That of Erebus. When she made it to the temple, this dark temple, hidden, we sat, and she sat cross-legged in front of the doors, and we were able to show her. This was not just a temple. This was just not a beast. This was the keeper of the mortal portion of this dark god. His heart lived inside the beast, protected for all time. He could not be destroyed or vanquished until this anchor to the mortal world was destroyed. She would do it by herself. She did not want to risk any other lives. She felt confident. She had the three divine, the Tri. We were the deck of the Tri now. We would find the divine path. She shuffled us. We consulted. We talked. And our power grew. Our task was at hand. Our final goal. What should we do? As she entered, the beast was far more powerful than she ever had expected. Far greater, far more difficult to handle. We were knocked away, and as we slid across the floor and unshuffled, the wind blew. We cast, we pulled our power, the sun. We lit the room and burned the beast with divine light. And the heart, the only thing to remain, the only thing that we could not destroy, fell to the ground. She struck it with her sword, rent it asunder. Erebus and the darkness, the temple, everything fell away. Not collapsed, dissolved. This place became green, open. The wind blew. The trees grew magically. The Tri were here. They brought this place back. The great beast had burned away. Animals, creatures, fresh water, this dark, dingy place, once a wonderful, beautiful place, almost instantly came back. Seraphina of Lannister, shield maiden of the Tri, had struck down the mortal coil that held this dark god to our world. She had fulfilled her destiny. She fulfilled our destiny. She collected us. We were slid into a small leather case. We were attached to her belt. She knew there was more here. We concentrated. We tried. We knew we had the magic now. And with the darkness gone from the great world, we could do more. For many years, we went with her, guided her, sitting on her great ship, traveling to lands. She would cast out, root out, find all of Erebus's followers, all of these dark people who wanted to see the world burned and souls rent asunder and brightness and love gone. She would make that not exist, and we would aid her. We were consulted daily. People who learned of us, learned of her power. This woman of devotion, power, still with whimsy in her heart, joy for others, the one who would hand out gold and candies to the children in every town that she helped liberate or free, or every time she found an evil tyrant in power she would cast away. Her small fleet moved from land to land, country to country, harbor to harbor. We were there. We would guide through the storm. We could not do all, but on occasions the wind card would come up and guide them. Other occasions the moon card and light would shine the way. Always doing our best, but not always knowing what came next. We tried, but we could not foresee what happened. When the pirates, they came, they raided the ships, they fought, they stormed from deck to deck to deck, killing and fighting. Seraphina did not fall. She defended, but she did not think that anyone knew what she had. They didn't. But when her cabin was raided, we were taken. A man. This man. Who is this man? After 10 years with Seraphina, who was this man? Brandon? The Bolt. Really? This man with 2 missing teeth? this man with tattoos, this wiry man. And as Seraphina entered the room, he ran. He jumped back to his ship. They pulled away. He could feel the power in us. He could feel the magic. This dark man. We were taken, but she survived. Maybe she would do it without us. She would continue the good. But this man's ship was fast, too fast, and without her guidance we could not aid. We now were on to a new keeper, this odd little man with dark plans. We were now back in our problem. We had learned to be faithful, to be wise, to be patient from Seraphina. We had to plot, we had to figure out how to deal with this. This man was not dumb, and he was very ambitious. He had some magic sense. He could tell when we were something important. He was devious, and he wanted the power. He wanted to be a pirate king, a lord of the sea. How could we prevent this? Maybe if we helped him, we could escape. We told him, your lord, your pirate lord, is not the one who should lead. You are. You are. We place these thoughts. Break them within. Break them within. This is what our minds thought. How do we escape? Must play the long game. Seraphina will do her work. We will do ours. This man covered in tattoos and leather. We would feed his paranoia. But he was cunning. He was wise. He could see sometimes our leading him astray. But there were moments where we had no control. We would tell the future. It would just be told. Why would we do that? How do we not do our job? He became Pirate Lord. He moved the pirate kingdom to an island, a dark island, a place that nobody else knew. Nobody could find, nobody in the shipping lanes knew of this place. Dark rock, volcanic, ash, spires of glass and stone. Deep into a cave he set his throne, his minions following him. Becoming more and more paranoid, he pulled back into the dark. We would show him deception. We would show him the men around him could not be trusted. He would no longer go out and raid. He would no longer leave. He would sit with his hoard of gold and minions in this dark, dank cave, getting ill. No sunlight, trench foot, scurvy, things that he should know better. But he became decrepit. This is how we would escape. We would feed his paranoia. We would kill him from within. And as time passed, many years, this lord had so much power. These pirates had so much fear. They could see that we were powerful. But as he became more and more frail, many men left. Many men fled. The booty shrank. The boons were less and less, but he would not leave. His mind was broken. This dark place, it was not just us. There's something else here. We could feel it. Something slithering. Something moving. Something dark. What could it be? What could it be? And one day, as we rested, being asked again and again who his enemies were, being tired, being stoic is hard. Our bright days were done, but we could escape, but we had to be patient. So many years of this. Then we felt it. We felt the power of this strange beast, this creature. We had to not tell. This creature who had just some sense of mind. This oozy creature. This creature who digested everything. In the cave, it had been here all the time, growing little by little. Creatures here, little crabs. We could sense it. Would it digest us? We were magic. We shall not warn him. We are lost here either way. We will not warn him. As this ooze had grown, several times eating some of the men. So many had deserted. It was hard to know who had left and who had been consumed. He had no idea as he sat looking out the cave entrance, waiting for somebody to come kill him. He did not think to look up. As this ooze, this green, jelly-like substance just fell from the ceiling over his great throne and began to consume. In a matter of moments, all that was left was the sword and belt, the buckles, the boots, and the cards. Even that throne with its organic wood became bolts and nails and metal inlay. It was gone. Very few men were truly left anyway. The pirates left. Nobody thought to look for us. Nobody knew what we were. The gelatinous form slithered back and forth. It could feel us. It could feel our consciousness. It would look for us. It couldn't consume us. We gave it no nutrients. It would move on. Small things, big things. Eventually it was gone. 10 years this has been. Here we lay. We refused to accept we would be the comedian's deck. We would be the deck of the try. We would expand. We would use our power. The three of us, we had done so good. It just takes time and patience. Being stoic, being stalwart, being wise. We did this. We had help, but the world works in mysterious ways. I think we'll be okay. We need to put our efforts into something. As we lay here, we had started with Seraphina's great goal. She knew this deck of 21 should be 22. The deck should be 22. What card was missing? Always missing. The Earth card. The card that brings it all together. And we focused. This was the card that would bring destiny forward. Truly let them see. Truly give them guidance and the power. Our magics all combined. We began working harder on this. Some days we could feel that 22nd card forming. Some days it was there, some days it wasn't. But there we sat, in a little leather satchel, sticking out. We could see the cave door, this opening, the ocean. The ooze was gone for some time. Once in a while we could see a boat come ashore down the way. They did not know we were here. Did not know what this was. That beast had consumed everyone and everything that was here and gone. I wonder if it starved. Who knows? Maybe it was just a small pea, again, hiding in a rock, waiting for a little crab to come along. But we were making something great, and we would reach out when it was time. Maybe destiny would shine on us again. The family, the prophecy, it was not for naught. We know it. We must believe. Continue the faith. This dank cave continued to be our home for some time. But we could feel something one day as we tried to focus ourselves, tried to predict. We could feel something. There was a small whaleboat ashore. Men and women. A ship out in the bay. Not a pirate ship. A ship that flew the flag very similar to that of Lysander. That of the Try. What was this? People exploring? Just resting? Looking for supplies? Who knew? And then, in the opening, in the light, stood a man. We could feel the lineage. We could feel the name, the blood, the prophecy. This man explored. Not the most deft was he, but jovial in spirit you could feel. This man picked us up. We glowed. The dank dark went away. Thick in the middle, a little older than you would expect for a hero. This foolhardy warrior. This man past his prime, trying to do the right thing, not having the guidance or the skills, family gone for so long. He found us, and he was our path out. He was of the bloodline. He was meant to find us. This man, what is his name? What is his name? Jacob of Hinsdale. Jacob of Hinsdale. He knew the stories he'd studied. He had been looking for so long. The deck had been lost. He knew it had been made. For 100 years this thing had sat here. Not found. Seraphina had long since passed. The Lysander name was gone. But Hinsdale was of the line. Through lineage he had found it, as a boy studying. As the third son in the family, he was left to his own devices, singing, swordplay, playing his lute, such things. He would sing of the songs of old, and he felt the calling, and he felt the corruption. He felt the family slipping, he felt the goal slipping, he felt the darkness coming. But his parents had died, and he had lost his way, sang his songs, drank his drink, wandered the world. Then his uncle took power. Things changed. The flags with the tree and the sun and the sea were gone, replaced by mountains and water and strength. The great gold seal replaced with a red one that represented blood, as his uncle would say, represented passion and fire, much better. He was left to his own devices till he returned to the family shores, to the family keep, holding this deck of cards, this silly, past his prime man with a belly under his breastplate. His uncle laughed at him, chastised him. But this man Jacob had opened us, had talked to us. We had explained as best we could. We were a guide. We could help. We must push back the evil. What had happened to Seraphina? What happened to the family line? And when we came into the family home, we could feel it. We could feel the darkness, the symbol on the wall that we had sat above. That new symbol, so very close to that of Erebus. Why was this in the house that we built? Why is this here? Why would that be here? Why? That is why. As we'd sailed home, we showed Jacob, we showed him the tower, we showed him judgment. We could feel the problem. We could feel there was an issue. We needed to help. We needed to deal with this. The Emperor came up again, but not in the way it once had. This was different. This was different. The fool. Why? What is going on? The magician. Something was wrong. Standing in this hall, we now knew. We had been seeing something. We'd been seeing the influence. Erebus was here. Somehow he had snuck into the line. We could see the darkness in this uncle's face. He chastised Jacob, laughed at him for wearing the silly family armor of old. Times have changed. Your boyhood dreams are gone. You were a man past his prime, you told him. And Jacob tried to explain, tried to do the right thing. Tried to explain that we could help, that we could find the way, that we had the answers, that we had the magic. This was prophesized. These cards existed. These were made for our family line. This uncle, this dark uncle, we did not know his name till he touched us. Lord Drake Devane. This lineage, we could feel it. This was the same thing that had happened long ago, but so much more subtle. They had gotten into the family. They had corrupted it. They had led them astray, the bloodline, corrupted by Erebus's followers. Why have we done this? Where have we been? What could we have done to help? Jacob, sensing the issue, seeing the frantic nature in the glow that we held, when he touched us, we actually heated up and he dropped us. We burned his hands, and he cursed out. He was furious with Jacob. Jacob went to pick us up, and we were knocked from his hands. This great lord, this uncle, this Drake, he struck us. We expended all we had. We had almost formed that 22nd card. It was there. We were going to help Jacob win the day. He had seen it. He'd seen it fade in and out. But when the sword fell, we were going to be split. We were going to be destroyed. The sword of magic, this dark sword, this sword with this dark vein and this dark eye upon it, struck us, and we expended our power to survive, to fight another day. Being here is better than not being here. Surviving is more important than having what we had. We could do it again. We can do it again. All these things came in one moment as the sword fell down on us and started to strike us in two. And as we expended our power, the sword shattered. The 22nd card faded. We'd used the energy to survive, to fight another day. Although we were nearly split in two, we remained there. The sword shattered. The uncle was mortally wounded. Guards were mortally wounded. His followers, there was fire and light. Jacob was taken away, thrown into a cell. We were thrown on a pile in the family vault. Left. Nearly destroyed. But our power remained. Magic remained. We began to heal. So damaged. Our goal lost. To survive. We must do it again. The slow knitting of the cards began again. The rip 3/4 down our entire deck. All 21 cards, damaged so severely. We began to bring ourselves back together, left in this family vault, left to rot, buried under piles of other things, magical items, knives and daggers and swords and gold and chalices. There we sat for many years. Then battles were waged. Pillaging was had. We were taken. In a great bag. In a chest. Many different things were taken. We passed around. We moved around. We were no longer with the family. We were still damaged, but beginning to knit. Many years had gone by. We were 3/4 repaired as opposed to 3/4 damaged. We were doing well, but locked in this chest we could not see. Then we find ourselves opened, our leather still intact. A collector, a kind man, an interesting man, a small shop, placed on a dusty shelf. Interesting. What are we? And we moved. We were able to show ourselves as something magic. He was very interested. But he had so many things. This little man in this little shop. And as he would look at each magical item, he would just obsess for days. As he looked at the dagger, as he looked at the sword, as he looked at the shield, as he looked at the magical books, we were forgotten for some time. One day we were taken down, and he realized we had been knit even further, only a small tear at the top. He looked at his notes, he looked at the tag, damaged cards, 1/4 cut, glimmered, moving lines, and he looked and we were nearly complete. He was something special. He spread us out, he looked, we tried to speak, we chatted, we talked. We tried to explain what we were. But this man, obsessive, inquisitive, was distracted, and he set us down next to the blade he'd been looking at. This interesting blade with jewel handles that just dropped a little drop of poison. So interesting. What are you, blade? Can you hear us? Can you feel our thoughts? We reached out. That blade did respond. We did chat, but it was short-lived, our time together. Of our 100 years, we only saw that blade once. I wonder where it went. Wonder who has it now. We continued our repairs. We continued keeping ourselves sane, trying to do the right thing, trying to find the family line. That collector had always intended to come back to us, but time had passed. His collection continued. People came, people went, bills came. Men have to sell things they love or are intrigued by. A strange deck of cards, slightly damaged, magical properties unknown, sold to a man to make that month's rent, to keep his children fed. After such a moment, things happen. We didn't hold that much interest. We were not a shiny blade or a shield. We were a deck of tarot cards, a gimmick, maybe with some moving pictures. He did not really fully understand. But the man who held this did. There was a family line here. The corrupted family line. We'd fallen into their hands again. It had been 100 years since we'd seen these people, and it was not the line of Lysander. The blood was there, very little of it though. This was the blood of Erebus. This was his most potent one yet. The most potent we'd seen since Syndra. My goodness. 140, 50, 200 years, how long had it been? Time so odd. And here we were in the same place again. This man, as we've carried by him, saw his sneer. Our fools' faces looking back at him, bright green and gold, trying to shine our way, trying to cast our spell, as he tapped us down into a magical box. He says, I know what you are. I know what you really can do. I know what my Lord has prepared for me so long ago. You will be the instrument that will bring Erebus back, and you didn't even know you could. You will do great and terrible things, is what he spoke to us. And that was not what we wanted, but that itching, that weirdness, those moments where we couldn't do what we wanted, those moments where things went awry. Such three faithful consciousnesses, now one, but there was always that other, always that moment in the background. Why? What card had never come up? And as we were placed on that altar, and this man who called himself the Prime, the great leader of the shadow of the fall, knowing that Erebus was the fallen one, knowing that this cult was his, knowing this is the long game, but for a god, what's a few hundred years? My goodness, had we failed? This man was a cleric, inspiring, stylish, debonair. I mean, people were captivated. There were men and women in this cult that should not be here. People of good faith, but he had bent their ear, told them that mankind was done, that they needed to be redone, that they needed to be guided by something more powerful than them, that what was happening was not right. He was silver-tongued, and his weakness for the dark arts and the darkness had fully captured him. His blood corrupted long ago, but his skills honed. As we sat there, he shuffled through our deck, and he pulled out a card. Why did he pull out that card? Card number 15. The devil. Our consciousness, the one consciousness, became 3 momentarily, and 4, and we all saw each other for the first time. The devil had never come up the entire time in our existence. It had been hiding in plain sight there. That magic that Erebus had cast long ago on us, the wizard, the casting. It had been a game. It had been a long plot. He had been hiding here the whole time, even with the heart destroyed, our power. He had given himself a key, a way back, and used us to do it. We were placed on the altar, 20 cards on the left, 1 card on the right, and the spell began. This great leader, this great speaker, this cult, in this dark cave. Wait, this dark cave, this was a green land the last time we were here. It is a dark cave, a dark place again. They had formed it. They had brought beasts and animals and sacrifices and blood. Why were we here? The gate opened. The darkest light you have ever seen. The skies cracked. The people in the room, they were consumed. The followers, they were not needed. They were just fuel for the fire. All this trickery, they were gone. The cards scattered to the wind inside this cave. The group of us fell aside as the altar bled and cracked. The door opened, the gateway, this hell on earth, corruption, and sacrifice and darkness, the skies turned red. The seas began to boil. We had failed. Erebus walked the earth. We've sat there on that floor so long, gathered ourselves. We were not destroyed. We were 20 cards. The consciousness, he left us here. Left us here to live through it. We saw through the hole in the cave. We could see the skies, purple and red, smoky, sooty. We could hear screams. We could hear combat. We could hear so much. What had we done? We had been the harbinger all this time. We had done this. We must fix it. An epoch, an age, thousands and thousands of years. We lay here, and we'd failed. But had we? What do we do? Broken, sad, dark, these 20 cards lay here. But our consciousness, we'd seen things. What do we do? Ages pass. The reign of man had fallen. We had gone and done the thing we had tried to stop. This is maybe the end of our story. But is it the end? Well, that's up to you. As time passes, the cave closes in. The cards remain. Dark, dank, place but magic. Nothing to do but concentrate. Their consciousness. Together the three remain sane. They remain vigilant. They remain there. So much time, inconceivable period of time. The cave begins to erode away. The door opens up. We can see the sky. Still red, still dark, still sulfur. So sad. One day, though, we see light, true light. Thousands of years since we've seen light like this. A woman, dark hair, light eyes, wearing a breastplate with a symbol that hasn't existed in thousands of years. A symbol of a sun enwrapping a tree over an ocean. Gold, hope. As she reaches down, she picks up 21 cards. And on that note, cheerful, hopefully, maybe not. We hope to see you next time for our next adventure. Thank you for joining me for this solo adventure. Really enjoyed doing it, and this was totally driven by the dice. Might have added a little bit for my epilogue there at the end, but 6 keepers, 3 ages. Hope you guys enjoyed this game. I did, and I highly recommend you check it out. If you liked Artefact as much as I did, you can play it too. You can be your own sword, or boots, or deck of cards. There's plenty to do. Go check them out at mouseholepress.itch.io/artifact. And you too can write yourself into history. We hope you can find yourself a table or a computer and some friends, so you too can roll into your own NatFun.
If you enjoyed Matt's playthrough of the Artefact and the Deck of the Try, and want to hear what it was like to play the game and form that initial story, head on over to patreon.com/natfun to hear an exclusive episode where Matt takes us through the first few dice rolls of his game. And while you're there, you can check out a lot of other NatFun content, from character stat blocks from our adventures to cutting room floor clips that didn't make the final episode, and lots more. Our Patreon subscribers help keep our podcast ad-free, so check it out. And coming up next week on NatFun, we're rolling into another solo game, a NatFun original, Don't Go Postal, where Dan and I will playtest our new solo game, based on the Wretched mechanics from Chris Bissett and Loot the Room. How wild and crazy can a single mail carrier shift get? Tune in to find out and see if Dan and I go postal. You can even check out the trailer right now.
Through rain, through sleet, through snow, through hail, I am done delivering the mail. Hello, retirement. But after all my years on the job, I don't know if these new mail carriers really have what it takes to get through even just one shift. From angry Karens to water skiing squirrels, washed out roads, and every truck breakdown you could imagine, they have no idea what they're in for.
Join us as we playtest our own solo NatFun game, Don't Go Postal. Will our mail carriers last through an entire 8-hour shift without losing their sanity? Or will they be driven to the brink and go postal in the most hilarious and over-the-top way possible? Join us to find out. You can listen to NatFun on YouTube, all major podcast listening networks, and our website, natfunpodcast.com.